8 years of cancer advice in just 8 minutes. Here we go. Here are the things that I wish I knew when I was diagnosed with cancer, but I didn't learn until I was an 8-year cancer survivor. This video could save you a lot of frustration and time. Let's go. First, and one of the most important things that you need to know. Many people mistakenly think that cancer is over when your treatment's over. This is not true. The long cancer side effects can last for months or years unless you do something about them. Exhaustion, joint pain, anxiety. But the good news is that you can be free from all of these side effects. But you do have to put a clear strategy in place. Just like you were dedicated to your cancer treatment, you need to be dedicated to your cancer recovery and remission. Otherwise, you could be challenged by all of these cancer side effects for absolutely no reason. I thought that when I reached the chemo finish line, I was gonna feel this huge sense of relief. I actually planned on throwing an end of chemo party, but instead, I went home and I crawled into bed. Even months later, I felt like a stranger inside my own body. I had gained 20 pounds, I was drenched in hot flashes, and of course, I was exhausted. I'm sure you can relate. It had been months since I finished chemo when I started wondering if I would ever truly feel like myself again. I started thinking that this was just my new normal, the way it was gonna be. I started to lose hope of ever getting back to who I was before cancer. It was time to dedicate myself to my recovery and remission. And I can honestly say that is when things really started to change for me. It wasn't enough to be cancer-free. I wanted to be free from cancer. Of course, I was grateful to be alive, and I still am, but I wanted something more. And that's okay to want that, to want to be side effect free. Thankfully, before I was diagnosed with cancer, I was already working in cancer care. I was an oncology researcher and clinician, and then I was diagnosed with cancer myself. So I knew if there was a person that was going to find the best possible evidence to help you be side effect free and stay cancer free, well, that person was going to be me. So I got to work. I researched for months and months, trying different strategies and different techniques. Now, 8 years later, I feel the healthiest I have ever felt in my life.
Let that baby whale, she can do it.
There it is. Now, if you want to get started on some of the strategies that I use when I work with my clients, then I'm going to link up below your A to Z guide to staying cancer-free. This is a free instant download, so get started today. Okay, but making changes in your cancer recovery and remission need to be strategic. So here's the next very important thing I learned as an 8-year cancer survivor. Your food matters. I cringe every time I hear an oncologist say, just eat whatever you want, or just eat healthy. This is so vague, and these suggestions are unhelpful for a cancer survivor that wants to do everything in their power to stay cancer-free. Your food either fuels your cancer or it fights your cancer. I've spoke many times on the importance of cancer survivors hitting their own personalized protein targets, but it's actually a lot more complicated than that. There's more to it than just hitting a protein target. All 3 macronutrients need to be balanced. The macronutrients are protein, carbohydrates, and fat. If there's a misalignment there between your macronutrients, then it's going to impact your side effects. Terrible energy, more hot flashes, and joint pain. Now, this is the first place to start with your nutrition. Ensure all 3 macronutrients are balanced and right for you. Once that's in place, then we can shift our focus to align the micronutrients. This would include things like sugar, antioxidants, or fiber. This is where we really get that risk reduction in your risk of a cancer recurrence. But this needs to be done with a stepwise approach. What most cancer survivors completely mess up is they focus on the wrong thing first. Something like they hyper focus on cutting back on sugar, but their macronutrients are completely out of whack. So what happens is that they don't see any changes. No changes in side effects, no changes with how they feel. Recovery and remission continue to be delayed. Okay, but the next thing I learned as an 8-year cancer survivor is that you absolutely need to be careful about the cancer community you choose to be a part of. Connecting with other cancer survivors can provide a community of validation. They've walked the same path. They've faced the same fears. Sharing your experience with someone who just gets it can be really cathartic, but these groups can also be very toxic. Many of the people who are vocal or active in these groups are also victimized by their cancer. They're stuck in this place of being a patient, and they want people to listen to them complain. If you're constantly exposed to cancer survivors who are like this, then it can be really harmful to your own recovery. These are often incredibly anxiety-provoking places. If you want to completely recover from cancer and be the healthiest version of you ever, then you need to be careful about who you surround yourself with. But you absolutely do not need to do this alone. You absolutely need a community around you. It just needs to be the right community. A community of cancer thrivers, people who are living their best lives despite cancer. That's exactly who I surround myself with in the Cancer Freedom Program. These are women who are high achievers, and they want to get back to being high achievers. They want to travel, spend time with family, and get back to doing exactly what they love to do. The energy that these type of people provide is uplifting and inspiring. So starting today, I want you to really audit who you're surrounding yourself with, both in person and virtually. Who are you following on social media? What support groups are you in? Start being really selective about your energy. Many of us don't even realize how we're being impacted by negative energy until we start auditing who's around us. Once you clear away a lot of the negativity, the anxiety will melt away too. But you need to hold yourself accountable to doing this. Making these changes can be difficult. Get yourself clear boundaries and guidelines so you can start to make progress. Okay, but this next point took me a long time to learn, and I want to make sure you have a shortcut in getting there. If you want the best support and the fastest recovery, then you need expert help. Think about going through chemo. You didn't just try to do it yourself. You sought out experts. Now, maybe you didn't always follow their advice, which is a perfect decision, by the way, if you didn't feel like it was in alignment with you. But still, you sought out expert support. Cancer recovery and remission is no different. I've witnessed so many cancer survivors run into challenges and problems because they followed the advice from a cancer influencer on social media, or they read a blog post about the perfect anti-cancer diet and they decided to follow that. If you want the best and the fastest path to getting to be side effect free and staying cancer free, then you need a customized plan designed specifically for you, your body, and your diagnosis. You need personalized support from an expert. Now, if you want me to help you, I am honored to do that. You can find a few links below to help you get started. There is one thing I know for sure about cancer recovery. Doing it alone really sucks. You do not need to go through this alone. Okay, so now that you know 8 years of cancer recovery advice in just 8 minutes, the next thing you need to dig into is exactly how to eat after cancer. We've talked so much about the importance of food for cancer survivors. So let me give you the best place to start. Click the link here and I'll see you in the next video.